And this is where I would put my copy of Pokemon Emerald. If I had one. I do have it, but it's just the cartridge with no label on it.
Yeah, which happens a lot when you're buying Pokemon games, because hardly do we ever get to buy them new. Well, and like now you get to, but when they were still on cartridges for handheld systems, we were too young and we couldn't buy them ourselves.
And like the sticker one cost like $20 more. I said, fuck that.
Yeah. If you think Nintendo games in general are way too expensive after in their like resale days, you know, like to buy a used copy of a Nintendo game, they're so expensive. Take that number, whatever number in your head, if you were to buy a copy of like Super Mario Sunshine, multiply that by 100,000, and that's the average price for a resale copy of a Pokemon game in its case with the booklet, with the sticker still on the cartridge. That shit. Those. Ooh, buddy. Yeah. That's not what we're talking about.
It's yeah, it's bad. So anyway, I'm not shilling out $300 for the fucking box.
No.
Fuck it. I don't care. I know what it looks like. Anyway, this is my favorite Pokemon game. It's crazy because we just talked about Sun last week.
Yeah, we did talk about Pokemon.
And yeah, well, you probably know I'm a Gen 3er, and this is the most. This is just, you know, back in the day when they used to make these third games.
Yeah,
they just take the other two games and just made them better.
Well, and granted, this was. I mean, I guess this is the third time they did it. So yeah,
Yellow
Pokemon
was the best one.
Yeah.
Crystal was the best one. Emerald is the best one. Platinum is the best one. And then they stopped.
And then they just started making sequels.
Yeah.
Except for X and Y.
Which,
until now.
Soon. But yeah, basically it's. I miss the sprite days, man. I really do miss the sprite days of Pokemon.
Yeah.
I just think the art style just looked so cool. And I really like it. I spend God only knows how many hours in the Battle Frontier. In that motherfucking Battle Pyramid. Oh my God, it takes so long to get through that.
Yeah.
That was my favorite one as a kid, but now I can't stand it.
Because what's the battle? Is that the rental one?
That's the one where it starts dark and you got to find the floor, and every battle it gets a little brighter.
Oh,
so you're just wandering in the dark aimlessly for like 7 floors, and to get to the fucking the leader, the pipe
brain
leader, you have to beat it 3 times in a row, and then for the gold one you got to beat it I think 7 times in a row. You got to clear that fucking thing 50 times in a row.
The Battle Frontier was.
And he comes out with fucking the 3 dogs or the 3 birds, whichever one was first, I don't know. And like I couldn't beat him. The only ones I actually ever beat, I mean like on the Game Boy, was the Pike Queen, which was the Seviper.
Yeah,
and then
I forget her name.
The Battle Dome, where it was like tournament style.
Yeah,
whatever his fucking name was. I beat those 2, but that was it.
Yeah, So they tried to do the Battle Frontier in a couple of different games beyond Emerald, but Emerald was the one that kicked it off. And I never played Emerald. Well, I played it a little bit when you lent me your copy, but I never beat it. I did not grow up with Emerald. I played Sapphire, and that was kind of the extent of my Gen 3 journeys. So you were always the Emerald guy. Right. Growing up, you had the cool version of the game where the sprites moved, at least for a second before every battle.
Yep.
You had the ability to catch both Latios and Latias.
No,
well, you chose
one or the other.
Yeah, one or the other. You
get both Groudon and Kyogre in this one.
That's right. And they make it way easier to catch Rayquaza, right? Like
I don't know if it's easier, but
like, is it part of the story that you have to catch it?
No, you don't have to catch it. You just have to go find him.
Oh, okay.
Which, oh man, that cutscene, bro.
Yeah,
that fucking cutscene. I think it's the first cutscene.
Cinema,
or like, yeah, it was just really well done, and the theme, like the organ that plays when you see Rayquaza from the back flying in.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it was the first time in Pokemon history that you really felt the weight of these legendary creatures. Because before, I'd say in Gen 1, the legendary Pokemon weren't really a part of the story. They were cool secrets to stumble on.
No,
and,
you didn't need to find any of them.
No, and then in Gen 2, you had, the box art Pokemon, which I think they were part of the story, but only so far as, right before the last gym leader, some person walks up to you. I'm pretty sure because I always am more familiar with Heart Gold and Soul Silver than the original games, so I always fucking forget how you even. I don't think anyone tells you about Lugia or Ho-Oh in the original games. I think you just find out where they are, and then for Lugia you have to go to the Whirlpool Islands, and then for Ho-Oh you have to go to the Bell Tower. But
this is the first. Gen 3 was the first one where they're
part of the story.
Yeah.
And you have to encounter them. So in Sapphire and Ruby, obviously, it was cool to get Groudon and Kyogre because they had their beef with each other. Or no, they didn't. It was just...
No, they did.
Oh, they did? Okay. Well, yeah. So I guess the difference was whatever version you had, that was the Pokemon that, won the beef, I suppose. And then they...
Yeah, Emerald was the only one where they actually, fought each other.
Yeah.
Because, in the Ruby and Sapphire, I don't even think
you see the other one. No, you just. That's what I'm saying. I don't think they have a beef in Ruby and Sapphire. I think it's just Team Magma or Team Aqua is hey, there's this legendary Pokemon that we're gonna exploit, and then you find them, and so Pokemon Emerald was kind of like a crossover episode where they finally got to meet in person, and then Rayquaza shows up to break it up. And there's so many good memes, dude.
What are those two simpletons doing? Don't you know I'm busy spoiling myself?
There's so many good Rayquaza memes. Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's just Groudon being this fucking fish, and then Kyogre being I'm gonna fucking... And then Rayquaza coming down from literal heaven to be shut the fuck up!
Yeah, dude. It's so good.
It's really good, and Dude, side note, anytime I do that, quiet screaming voice, I feel like I'm in middle school again, where when you wanted to, do a bit where someone was screaming, but you were in, the lunchroom cafeteria and you couldn't actually scream. You just did this! And I was I feel so silly every time I do it, because it's so juvenile in my brain, and it's never funny. But that's not the point. The point is just to talk about how hype we are about Pokemon.
And obviously it's back in the GBA days, so you have to deal with a lot of horse shit, like random encounters and the HMs.
Yeah. Sometimes if you put your Game Boy down the wrong way, it'll glitch out the game, and then you have to start back from whatever save file you had prior to that. Also, the brightness on these are more complaints about the Game Boy in general, but
Game Boy sucks, dude.
It's the shit that we had to deal with, man. You kids that are growing up on Sword and Shield, and you get to complain about the texture on trees. It's all right, well, have you ever lost your Game Boy in the backyard and then it gets buried by feet worth of snow because you were playing it outside and then you forget about it? So your mom gets you a new Game Boy, and then once the winter goes away and all the snow melts, you find the other Game Boy and it still fucking works. So you give it to your little sister because she wanted a Game Boy to play yours, and now she has one of her own, and now you have two Game Boy Advances. Does that ever happen to you?
Not exactly, but
yeah,
just a lot of good times. I've met my friend Jason.
Yeah,
he was playing Ruby, but that's how I knew we were going to be friends for life.
Yeah,
because that was the first one I got. I remember going into this because I liked Groudon. I liked because that's how you did it back in the day. You chose whichever one you liked more.
Yeah,
and I remember seeing Emerald on the thing, but I fucking took Ruby. I didn't know Emerald was way better in every.
I mean, how were we to know? And there was no one around in our lives to tell us no, get this one instead. Actually,
yeah. So it's just great. It's a fucking great game.
Yeah,
I really liked Battle Frontier. We obviously talked about how each one was a different gimmick. The trick guy.
Oh yeah, in the trick house.
Yeah, that was fun. There was that whole thing. The soundtrack. Holy fucking shit, my ass. Dude.
Yeah, everyone loves the horns.
The trumpets. The trumpets are so good. Petalburg City. That is the way. I think that is the only way I'm ever gonna like cry in a concert or something. If I go see something where they're playing Pokemon songs and they bust out Petalburg City, I'm gonna lose my fucking shit.
Yeah, dude, they better have a Pokemon Symphony go around because I think they've done that before.
SSN is a very good one too.
SSN is really good. Yeah, man, I always wish that I played Emerald, and now I'm at a point where I'm like, you know, I feel like there's so many ways to experience Gen 3 now, and I still have my Game Boy, but I haven't played it in forever. I think I would to play Emerald to get that again, but yeah, dude, those were the days playing Gen 3 on our Game Boys, like on the ride home from somewhere in the back seat, or like trading with each other, which I didn't get to do for a long time because I didn't have a link cable. But do you remember anything else that was different, like exclusive to Emerald, besides Wallace being the champion instead of Steven?
I think I don't know if the two different bikes were also in Ruby and Sapphire. How you can choose
the Mach and the A. It's something with an A.
Yeah, Arc.
The Arc and the Mach bike. Yeah, no, there were two bikes. So I remember you had to use both bikes in to find Rayquaza in those games, because you could find them, but they didn't. It was like Gen 2 where they don't tell you where to find Rayquaza. You just have to like figure it out yourself or buy the strategy guide.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I have the Emerald strategy guide. I don't know where I got it from, but it's just a little guy. It's not like a big whole thing, but I still have it, and I should have brought it today. Yeah. Next time. I'll bring it next time, and then we'll retroactively be like, yeah, this is what it's supposed to be in the last episode.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, it's
a lot of the end game stuff. Because
Yeah.
in Ruby and Set, whatever, because either Groudon droughts or Kyogre makes it rain.
Yeah.
And in Emerald, it just keeps flipping between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a lot of the stuff at the end is really where most of the changes.
And I feel like, because we're getting so many remakes these days, and we're getting so many games where it's like expanded versions of the original, and, you know, case in point, because I'm playing Persona 5 right now instead of Persona 5 Royal, which everyone is like, oh, that's the better version. Most of the shit that's new to Persona 5 Royal that isn't just quality of life stuff that they improved on throughout the game, like they added more dialogue and cutscenes, it's all at the end. So it's like, am I really going to go back and play this, 40 plus hour game in the case of Pokemon Emerald? Am I really going to go back and play this game just to experience all the shit at the end?
Hell yes. Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, which I guess it's more a question of how long has it been since you've played a Gen 3 game, and I feel like then it's easier to justify, like, no, yeah, I'll play Emerald. It's been a while. So if you've never played a Gen 3 Pokemon game, and Gami Gang, and I'm looking to you guys, I'm looking at y'all. Yeah, you should just play them, because they're really good, and you can't go wrong picking anyone. But if you have a choice, pick Emerald.
Always go with the third one.
It's just always go with the third. There's always new stuff.
Why would you ever play the originals ever again? I don't get it, at least.